Hello, everyone. Welcome in Weiningen. Welcome to you as well for the people joining online. We are super happy to have you. I have two numbers for you today. The first number is 365. That's the number of participants who sign up. That's about a third online and 2/3 in person. So we are really excited for that. The second number is 10. That's the 10th edition of this demo day. It's also the 10th edition of our StartLife Accelerate. My name is Jean Boudillon. I'm the program manager of StartLife, and I'm really happy to have you all here. Thank you. I was mentioning these numbers because, as I said, it's the 10th anniversary of the demo day, and we really wanted to make it special. That's why you had the startup fair on the back, so you could have a real discussion with the startups. You also had the networking area. You had access to the network app where you could connect with the list of attendees. You will have more time to connect with all those people, so I encourage you to send message and connect with people from the community. Actually, we also had a VIP session hosted by our director, Jan Meiling, about talent and ambition in the ecosystem. So we really want to be in the middle of the ecosystem and create value for the community. I also wanted to announce a new feature on our StartLife platform. That's the community workshop. So for all the startups from StartLife, that's more than 400, we will organize more and more workshops for the entrepreneurs. So we are welcoming experts to dive into a topic. And we want to create more interaction, more learning for the startup. So we are always keep doing more for the community and for the startups. We hope you enjoy these things. We do it for you, we do it for the community, and of course, we do it for the planet. I'm not going to be alone today on stage. I want to welcome Julia Krastola, Investor Relations Manager. She's my colleague, friend, and also my co-host today. Welcome, Julia.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you, and thank you, everybody. I mean, for me, this is the third demo day I'm hosting already for StartLife, and I have to admit, I think I'll never stop being amazed by the great people that StartLife was able to, connect with all over the past year. So I really want to thank you now because of all the trust and the support that you gave us over the past years. And as you know, all of this cannot be done without our funding and supporting partners, Wageningen University, Food Valley, and Oostenel that have been around for all the 13 years in which StartLife has been basically working together with startups. So thank you also for the support that you provide us and to the startup that we've been working with. And talking about partnerships, as you know, we also partner up with a lot of other key players along the food and agriculture chain, like corporates, our investors, and other partners that really support our startups during the programs and also afterwards. And in this, let's say, scenario, I also want to welcome our newest partners on board, the Dutch impact fund, Rubio Impact Ventures, together also with KWS, one of the world's leading plant breeding companies. So I really want to thank you all for trusting us, and also because we're really looking forward to start working together with you. And what do we do with all these partners? We really try to bring them together with us and brainstorm on how we can improve the value chain. So like this morning, for instance, we had a session with corporate investors talking about value chain collaborations. And we invited Alexander Bastos, Head of Innovation at Givaudan, to share more insight about this. And it was very interesting presentation. I will suggest you to have a chat with him if you're more interested about this afterwards. And let's say the scope of these sessions is really, as I was saying, to brainstorm, to try to boost collaborations between the partners. And I want to close with this, and I would like now to give the stage to our Managing Director, Jan Meiling, and he will give you a warm welcome as well.
Thank you. It was already mentioned, people. Human beings. There would be no innovation without people. There would be no StartLife without people. StartLife is actually you. It's not only these 20 people with black t-shirts which are running around nervously today. This is StartLife. This is the StartLife community. So it's great to see the community back together here again. It has been a wonderful day already from early morning. We have been having many different sessions together with our partners and workshops. And one of the workshops that we did in the early afternoon was indeed about talent and ambition, which is a subject that I personally think that we might have to deep dive in a little bit further. And we discussed this specific theme on talent and ambition, and we actually discussed 4 statements and concluded on them. And the outcomes of the workshop are these. And so we are very much challenged and also encouraged to really invest even more in founders, but also the whole ecosystem to increase the level of ambition and the level of talent. So this is something that really adheres to what we do. This is also why StartLife is developing the Venture Studio, right? The Venture Studio is a wonderful tool to attract and acquire talent from abroad to lead the future early stage ventures that will be creating mass impact. I'd very like to join us on this mission, and I would like to welcome you again to the 10th Demo Day. And one more big round of applause, not for us, but for you, because it's all about you. You together with us are what we strive for and what we want to do. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. It's all about the people. It's all about the community. I like that. Thanks, Jan. So today we will have 12 fantastic startups from the community that have followed our program. So about the setup, each startup will have 2 minutes speech on stage, and then we will have 2 minutes Q&A with you, the audience. If you have any question, just raise your hand. For the audience online, we have our colleague Samuel that is checking your question. He will give them to us. You can even upvote the question on the app directly. That's it. Let's welcome on stage our first startup. That's FarmOn with a regenerative agriculture solution. And yes, welcome. Alice, welcome on stage. You're the co-founder and CEO of FarmOn. Please tell us more about FarmOn.
Thank you. Climate change impacts farms around the world. Food security is at risk. Yesterday's formula, plowing, seeds, and chemical, cannot guarantee a yield in the future anymore. Farmers must adapt to these new conditions. The regenerative agriculture movement has answers to challenges of today and tomorrow. Farming with nature and not against it will ensure yields and resilience. Farmers that don't change will be left behind. Today, billions are invested to ensure that the food security will still happen. And this will only increase in the future. But farming with nature is complex. Yesterday we had only one simple formula. Farming with nature is thousands of formula. So how do we, and this knowledge is stuck in a few brains of a few innovative experts and practitioners. So how do we free this knowledge to enable every farmer to access it? So we're introducing the regenerative hotline, agronomic regenerative guidance anytime, anywhere. A farmer has a question, types into his phone, or speaks into his phone, and gets connected a few moments later with expertise. And this is only possible with AI, with the help of AI. Our FarmOn co-pilots help scale the expert. Together, we've built this solution in other sectors, and we're bringing it today to the world of farming. We're raising 900,000 euro to build our first product and answer 10,000 questions from farmers. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you very much for your great presentation. I'm sure there are questions from the audience, so please, let's open the floor. Who wants to start? Yes, we have a question here in the front.
What is the way you are going to market your product if you have fully developed it?
Please, can you repeat?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes. So better?
Yes.
How do you intend to market your product if it's fully developed?
Yes, so we're intending to partner with what we call project developers, which are carbon credit companies and companies that are insetting carbon emissions. And we're basically providing the operational support to them. So they're creating transition plans and basically measuring impact on farm. And after that, when it comes to operational support, they usually don't do it. So that's when we come into play. And we're looking basically to, in the first year, to make an average of 500 euro per farmer. Basically partnering with them for them to give us the access to the farmers so that we can support them in their journey.
A question in the back?
Wait for the mic, please. The mic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What are you basing the knowledge you want to share with farmers on, specifically depending also on the different place where people work?
Yes. So we're working with experts, and the experts are the ones that in the end provide the knowledge. So we basically have a curated library of knowledge, and we're basically already proposing them an answer that they're modifying and in the end send back to the farmer. So locally, we actually work with those experts. What we do is just scale them, giving the opportunity to answer a question more quickly.
Okay, thank you so much. Time is up. Thank you, Alice. Let's give a word. And please remember to scan this QR code that we have after each presentation of each startup so that you can connect to the team and also take a look at their deck afterwards. So Jean, who we have next?
Yes. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Julia. Our next startup is from the Netherlands. Please welcome Reinvent Protein, and this time working on alternative protein. Ali, you incorporated the startup a few weeks ago in the Netherlands, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
Tell
you.
us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Good afternoon, everybody. We are Reinvent Proteins. We are here for healthier life and greener future. We want to do this together with the community here and beyond. Plant-based proteins are already finding the way to the shelves. We all enjoy plant-based milk alternatives, meat alternatives, etc. And this is really the era of protein transition. We are living in this era, and we want to make an impact in this era. However, plant proteins have challenges. They are poor nutritionally when we compare them to milk, egg, and meat proteins. They are less functional when it comes to solubility, emulsification, how they impact the final food product. They also come with off flavors. We hear that day after day. Pea protein are bitter. They have beany flavor, etc. How can you help doing that? Here is Reinvent Protein role. We want to change this. We want to really change this. How we do that? We do it through our own enzymatic and fermentation platform that is natural, sustainable, and applied on the raw material to maximize taste, functionality, and nutrition of plant proteins, and thus make them more applicable in a wide variety of end products, such as, of course, plant protein bars, beverages, shakes, etc. The features of our product: clean label, soy-free, no off taste, maximum nutrition, really close to that of milk and egg proteins, and also soluble over a wide range of pH, enabling their incorporation in a wide range of end products. We had already some good customer traction. We're not making revenue yet, but we get a lot of calls and meetings with interested parties. We have actually yesterday a fantastic meeting with a company here in the Netherlands that is interested in using our application, our ingredient in the protein bars as well as in shakes. We plan to launch in the middle of 2024, and with your support, we believe we can make an impact and a change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you very much. All right, let's open the floor for any questions. Yes, one in the front. Let's wait for the microphone. This is a throw box microphone. Right.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting. I was wondering, are these powders not already in the market, or what makes your powder so different? That was not 100% clear to me.
Yeah, absolutely. The plant proteins powder are in the market, but the ones we're producing is quite new in the market. There are a couple of competitive products that are inferior to us in flavor and functionality. So leveraging our technology, both enzymatic and fermentation, makes the powder quite unique. So we have some really unique selling points there.
All right. Any other question? I know there is one from the online audience.
Yes, there is a question from Aryan. The question is, can you patent the fermentation mixes, or do you protect the functional improved protein?
Yeah, very interesting question. And we are actually reviewing our IP strategy, what we can protect and what we should actually keep as a trade secret. Patenting is really interesting, and we have some patents in scope, but there are also some certain areas which we think we should not patent in order not to make it public later, so to keep our really unique selling point and the know-how inside. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ali. We are out of time. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ali. Our next startup is coming from far away. That's Chile, and also the startup is based in Argentina. We will have Nano in green now. Carolina, welcome. You have a technology to improve the bioavailability of nutrients, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Tell us more about it.
Thank you. So hi, my name is Carolina. I'm the CEO of Nano Green, a green synthesized company that through precision fermentation, we seek to synthesize functional ingredients to enhance plant-based food. So we're a team based in Argentina. So we have two scientists who have more than 50 years of experience working in the food industry. And Liliana Kunz and me, we work in the business side of the company. So plant-based food are growing exponentially over the last few years. And we know companies are starting to look for new lines or start to substitute the traditional ingredients for more healthy ones. And if they want to continue growing, taste, texture, and nutritional value, they need to improve. So we know already, many people have some problems, specifically vegans or vegetarian. They are suffer from anemia. And if we focus only in Latin America, we know 8% of consumers of Latin America are vegans or vegetarian, and many of them suffer from iron deficiency. And what we learned over the past months, interviewing a lot of consumers, is everyone takes supplement, but they don't like it. They don't trust in fortified brands, what already exists now in the market, due to their artificial ingredients, what this has. And they think this is a low recovery process. So this is why we decided to create Nano Green. And our main focus of Nano Green is to improve the nutritional value of plant-based products by creating a new ingredient who are producing by prebiotic lactobacteria. And our process is very simple. We have our own unique prebiotics isolate in our lab, and we put it together in precision fermentation, and then we have something like this. And the main characteristic of this is this can be absorbed like 30% better than the traditional minerals in the market. So we are starting to do some pilot scale there in Argentina and in Chile. And so I invite you, everyone who want to join for our mission, to talk with us specifically for partners and corporate. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Carolina. All right, let's open the question. Let's open the floor for the question, sorry. Any question? I think I can start. So you mentioned also that you learned during this past month something new, right? Can you elaborate a bit more about it, how maybe your approach changed?
Yeah, so in the beginning, before StartLife program, we think it's better to start with only iron. So we think it's enough to start with iron. But then talking with many other companies, they think the main value is the probiotics, what we have and what we isolate in our lab. So then we came with this first prototype, and it's a complementation of our probiotic strained probiotic bacteria with the iron at the same time. So that is what we came in this period, during this month, to develop. So we changed a little bit the product what we have in the beginning.
Okay, thank you. And I see we have a question from the online audience as well.
Yes. The question is from Richard. How can you measure the effectiveness of your product compared with competitors?
Yes, so we think, at least at this point, we are measuring that in laboratory. So we are doing preclinical studies, and we test it with mammalian cells, and we try to measure it with some competitors, like what already exists in the market. And what we figure out is the strain what we isolate in our lab is very, very, very efficiency in this viability absorbed. So we are doing that already. Of course, this is a long process, but we are starting to do that now.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, of course, remember to connect afterwards if you have more questions. Thank you again.
All right, thanks, Carolina. Our next startup is coming from the Netherlands again, with a revolutionary way to plant seeds. This is SNDB. Armen, you're the CEO. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Harmen Smit. I'm going to tell you something about SET. SET is the seed embedding technology, the next step in seed enhancements. The current agriculture world is facing many challenges related to climate change, changes in legislation around agrochemicals, and together with the growing world population and the fight for space, there's a need for new technologies that will enable farmers that will enable farmers to get better quality crops and higher yields in a sustainable way. We have developed a new technology that will enable next step in seed enhancement and precision planting that the current techniques cannot offer. Our basic technology is quite simple. We have a non-woven backing layer, and we distribute seeds on that. That will be covered by a thin coating layer. This coating layer is creating an enormous seed space that can be used for further seed enhancement technologies. We have a bio-based and biodegradable product. And with these seed tapes, we can achieve high level of precision planting in outdoor applications. And altogether, our concept improves the water management during the early stage of the germination process of the seeds, which is a very sensitive phase. Our concept is scalable and has impact. It's protected by 3 RPRs. We have a very interesting business case for farmers, and it addresses the main challenges related to the SDG goals and the European Green Deal commitments. Our concept is a platform concept. We have different applications, but we are currently focusing on 3 that are in different stages of development. G-grass is seeds on rolls. You can see it in our booth. Is already in the market. It's currently distributed in the garden retail market by a well-known Dutch brand, EcoStyle, for also the rest of Europe. The HAZET is currently demonstrated in a hydroponics application at a selected customer of our development partner, and there our concept is used as an alternative for peat, as a cost-effective and sustainable growth medium. And the last project is VSET. It's an open field cultivation method where we put large open field trials together with partners like Wageningen University and Census, where we can really create in the open field precision planting and support the germination of the seeds and create higher and robust yields. We are looking for strategic partners for joint development programs, in particular around the concept of VSET, the open field, but also for investors. We're anticipating on a new investment round early 2024. Thank you very much for your attention. And it's leaking here.
Thank you, Armen, and thank you for noticing it. Yes, we're going to have a pool eventually at the end of the day. That's okay. So do we have any question from the audience? Maybe I can start. So, I'm just curious to learn more. Do the farmers need to do a lot of changes in what they're already doing to implement your solution?
Yeah, theoretically, yes, because what we are doing, we are sowing the seeds in an industrialized environment. So the sowing of the seeds is no longer done outside, but it's in a conditioned environment. And then you plant the tapes. And for planting tapes, you need a different tool. I showed it on the picture. And it is different than what they are doing now. However, farmers are used to do that because they work with planting, they use with sowing, but it's a new way of planting seeds. Yeah, that's true.
All right, thank you. Yes, we have two questions here. I think, yeah.
In the case of open field farming, can your solution be combined with no-till practices? No-till, so plowing causes stress usually on soil.
What we claim that we have lower, what was the word, Gerard? Tillage, because I can show you a movie. What we do, we slice actually a hole in the field where we put the tape, so we have less disruption on the soil, so the weed is better controlled.
We have time for a very short question.
So does it combine with seed coating? Seed coating.
We start with naked seeds, and the coating is actually our seed space. So that's a big challenge for the seed enhancement companies. Where you have limited space around the seed, we create a much larger seed space in our coating where you can apply nutrients and other kinds of active ingredients.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you, Harmen.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Armen. And I strongly encourage you to visit the booth of SNDB, and you can see the product in your hands. So our next startup is coming from Ukraine, and that's Carbominer. Nick, you are the CEO. We are really happy to have you. You could make it from Ukraine. Please tell us more about Carbominer.
Good afternoon. I'm Niko Seiko. I'm a serial entrepreneur from Kyiv, Ukraine. Now I lead the Carbominer project. Presenting here in Wageningen, for this audience, there is no need to explain why greenhouse operators inject carbon dioxide into their greenhouses. Where does the CO2 come from? It comes from natural gas burning greenhouse owners use for heating, and the CO2 is just byproduct of the burning. So as a byproduct, it comes for free, absolutely free. But it's no longer so free. For example, for the last 15 years in the country of Sweden, the carbon tax for using the fossil fuels has gone up 6 times. And on top of this, last year, as all of you know, the prices for natural gas skyrocketed in Europe. And using the natural gas for greenhouse heating and obtaining CO2 for injection is no longer an option. Of course, greenhouses can be heated with renewable electricity, but in that case, they will lose a source of carbon dioxide. Carbominer can help. we have developed new and efficient technology for direct air capture of carbon dioxide. We implement the technology in compact and transportable modules intended for the local use, local capture, nearby the greenhouse. In just 3 years, we have developed that new technology. We have implemented it in a working machine, and we piloted that machine with the international partner in last December. We need, as the next steps, we need to expand our team. We need to build full-scale machine and validate it. And last but not least, we need to move our operations from Ukraine to Poland. Our market is the greenhouse operators of European Union. And to expand here, we are raising in the third quarter of this year our late seed round of $1.5 million. I'm here not only for present Carbominer, but to find the partners to test our equipment with the Dutch greenhouse. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Let's open the floor for some questions. I'm sure there must be some. Any questions? Yes, we have a question in front of you.
How does the machine work?
Our innovation is a very unconventional combination of dry and wet capture approaches. We combine them in one system. We start with the dry capture. We have a special sorbent produced by us, and that sorbent is able to capture molecules of carbon dioxide from the airstream, being dry. And this is the fiber cloth. It's like usual cloth. And after the capturing capacity of the sorbent is over, we stop the airstream and we rinse from the top our sorbent with the alkaline solution. That solution takes molecules of carbon dioxide from the cloth into the solution. And that capturing phase is over. Then we're using just pumps. We send the enriched solution to the regeneration stage, the separate machine. We employ electrochemistry-based pH swing there. So carbon dioxide is released after that stage as a pure gas, 99.7 purity.
Any other questions? Yes, we have one there.
Thanks for your presentation. I have a question on the price, because carbon dioxide capture direct from air seems to be quite expensive. Have you already a feel of the price point that is needed to make this commercially viable?
Yes. This country is not good for us for enter because Netherlands is a country of perfect capitalism. Prices are quite competitive here. And we understand that our first machine, working prototype, is not energy efficient to enter this market. However, we have a clear vision with R&D, how to put our cost of capture lower. I envision that in 3 to 4 years, we will be able to work even in Netherlands.
Okay. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time to move on.
Yes. Thank you, Nick. We wish you well in Ukraine. Our next startup is coming from Italy this time, Rome. Let's welcome on stage Pier Francesco for Yeast Time. Pierre, you can speed up the process by 30%. I really want to hear about that.
Yes, thank you very much for having me today. I'm Pier Francesco Mazzolini, CEO and co-founder of Yeast Time. So this fantastic team has developed an innovative solution which leverages ultrasound technology to help food producers in the field of cell culturing cut costs related to their fermentation process and accelerate the productive activity of the already existing bioreactors. So current bioreactors in the market have not changed for decades. In fact, they're characterized by their fixed fermentation time and their fixed yield. So in order to challenge this innovative stall, we have developed and patented YT01, which is a retrofitted and modular device applicable to the geometry of any existing bioreactor. So in the last year and a half since our establishment, we have closely monitored the model microorganism of the yeast, applying it for beer brewing application, where in fact we have achieved really impressive results. We have reduced the fermentation time by 30%, we have increased the yield in time, and most of all, we have kept the organoleptical properties of the product unaltered. So until now, we have recently closed a 60K binding pre-contract with a target client, and we have 150K in our pipeline for early 2024. By September of this year, we're going to deploy our first industrial 2,000-liter device for our first client. However, it's not only beer. Our goal is to, in the long run, is to be process optimizers for a wide range of microorganisms and fermented products. We want to ensure bioprocess optimizations and the results that we have achieved on yeast on other different type of microorganisms. So to do this, we're seeking for an 800K investment to allocate mainly on production scale-up, team expansion, and to unlock our R&D potential. Thank you very much, and let's build the future of fermentation together.
Thanks, Pierfrancesco. Maybe we can talk Italian, right?
Yeah,
All right. I think we have some questions maybe from the audience, indeed.
Presentation, thank you. What's the business model?
So we are a hardware as a service. We charge for a subscription-based model for consultancy services, maintenance, the rent of our device, and the use of our software as well. I haven't presented in the presentation, but we have also a software that supports our hardware, and it delivers to the client the possibility to both manage the frequencies that are emitted by our hardware during the process and control in real time as well the main parameters such as CO2, temperature, density, and pH. Sorry?
Is it based on the volume or the number of
It's based on the volume of the reactor, yes.
Any other question from, yes, on the back?
What kind of ingredients specifically is this aimed to ferment?
So now we have, as I said, we have monitored yeast, specifically Saccharomyces cerevisiae, strains, and we have also started applying the technology on lab-scale photobioreactors for microalgae fermentation. And now, by the end of the year, we're going to start a pilot as well on heterolactic fermentation on yogurt. And yes, we want to slowly and continuously, challenge our technology and be there as a process optimizers for a wide range of strains and microorganisms.
Okay, if we don't have any last question, okay, I want to thank you, Pierfrancesco.
Thank you very much.
Yes, let's connect with him. All right, Jean. I think it's actually now time for something different, right? All right, so I think you're tired of listening, and that's it. So I think we want to introduce you to a short break, kind of. So as you know, we just don't support our startups during our program, but we like to follow them afterwards because we want to see their progress and we want to check whether we can still support them in some way. So for this, we call one of our alumni, Zimoptic, to take this with us and have, let's say, a short intro of what they're doing.
Yes, thank you, Julia. We love showcasing our successful startup, so we'll welcome on stage Zimoptic, but first, let's watch a video introducing what we do.
Zimoptic has been created in 2019 with Alexis Landas and me. Our goal is to develop a golden standard in the industry to help enzyme producer, enzyme blender, and enzyme users to monitor, to analyze, and to answer a question regarding the use of enzyme in product and processes. For that, we have a new product called ZimPlate. This is a 96-well plate. And thanks to this, lab technician can perform a lot of tests in a very reliable efficient and easy way. Zymoptics technology is based on a clean room processes, and it's quite unusual for enzymatic issue to be based on clean room technology and on a micro and nano fabrication. We include our specific enzymatic sensor at the bottom of each well, and thanks to that the users just need to open the blister and the Zym plate is ready to use for the analysis. We have customers in many different industries, such as dairy industry, feed industry, and bakery industry.
Puratos is an international group which offers a full range of innovative food and services for the bakery, patisserie, and chocolate sectors. We are always interested to find groundbreaking ideas and technology that will drive the way we make our products. Compared to the previous method, Zymoptic technology is easier and faster. The Zymoptic technology is also highly sensitive, allowing to measure low dosage formulations. It's also safer and better for the environment because we don't use the dangerous product. Most of all, the collaboration with Zymoptic team is excellent.
So we are proud of what we have done so far. Our techniques is now used in real life on the floors in different factories and in different laboratories. And it already helps a lot of lab technicians. So for us, it's a very important milestone. It's a nice achievement.
All right, so to talk about it, please welcome the CTO and co-founder, Alexis Flandas.
Hello, everyone.
Alexis, welcome.
Thank you.
Really good to have you.
It's great to be here.
Yeah. So you were part of the program in fall 2019. That's about 3 years and a half. Tell us, what has been your journey since then?
Well, of course, it seems like a lifetime ago that we were here, like some of you are. We were a young startup. We were created in 2019. And since then, we've done quite a lot. We grew the team to 25 people, both sales and R&D. We developed the first product that you saw online, which transformed the way we do enzymatic measurements. And we raised quite a few millions from international VCs to power our growth. And we're starting to sell our product throughout Europe, and which is why we also have a part of a sales team here at StartLife, because it's a great place to be with Morgan, who's now full-time here.
Nice, yeah. So Morgan is your business developer in Wageningen, right?
That's right.
Alexis, you're a physicist from the CNRS, right. And Zymoptic is at the crossroad of micro, nanotech, and biochemistry. How do you bring those two worlds together?
Well, it is a bit surprising at first sight. I'm a physicist, so working with enzyme is not what I'm supposed to do. But with one of my students, who's now part of the team, Sébastien Lamont, we discovered a new way to use micro-nano technology to make it extremely easy to measure enzymatic activity in complex solutions. And this idea we brought slowly, it took us a few years, to the point where we were ready to go on the market with Philippe. And we worked really hard to make it really easy for the end user to measure activity. It has become as simple as opening the pack, as you see, and for every enzyme we provide a solution for, you just open the blister and put the solution. And because it's micro-nano, because it's different, we can open up new ways. The results are encoded in the plate. You can read it later. You can send it in the post. There's tons of new ways to measure enzyme throughout the industry.
Yeah, so I came to Lille. I didn't say, but you're from Lille in France. Yeah. And I was really impressed by this. Yeah, you just open the blister.
No more chemical preparation, nothing.
Yeah, that was really impressive. So we mentioned it, you opened an office in Wageningen. Like, why Wageningen? Why did you come back here?
Well, as Philippe said in the movie, we address clients throughout the biomass transformation. It can be food, feed, juices, it can be also biomass for biofuel. And of course, being in the food valley here, you have not only a great research ecosystem, but also companies that are looking for innovation to transform the way they work. And so it's one of the best places in Europe to be, for sure. And it's also conveniently placed to address the German, Denmark, Netherlands market.
All right, perfect. Let's take a question from the audience, or the live audience, or online audience. Anybody has a question? Yes, Hamen, can you wait for the mic?
The cube to fly.
That's a long throw.
As a current participant, what was the most important thing you learned through StartLife?
Oh, we learned
contributed to your success.
Yeah, we worked a lot. I mean, Philippe was there many days per week. And I think it really helped us focus on what was the maximum value we could bring to our clients. Coming from research, it is, you've got this vision of how enzyme measurement works in industry, what they struggle with, and actually being here and asking the real question and going and seeing the customers in the ecosystem enabled us to focus more on what was the real value of our product. So that was tremendous help. And then there's also some financial stress tests that they probe you quite deep. So it's very challenging, it's quite demanding, but we're very happy to have gone through it.
Thanks for the question. I mean, yeah.
It was not prepared.
All right. Any other question from the audience? Yeah, Ben?
So short one, what next? What are the plans to grow, scale, deliver?
Yeah, of course, we need to sell the product. A lot of people are interested in different industries, so there's a huge focus on this. But we're also planning the next step. We're an R&D-based company, and so we are developing this year a completely novel product where you are getting out of the lab to be able to do measurement in the field with untrained labor. And you can only do this because you have a very robust micro-nanotech at the heart of it that makes it possible. So we're very excited.
And maybe how the community can help you, like the vining and the global community?
Well, I think that understanding the use cases where you bring value, people coming with problems and we try to find solutions together is a great way to help, actually. So come and talk to us about your problems, about what you would like to be doing, and let's see if we can find a way to do it together.
All right. And yeah, please, Declan.
So what's the use case in the open field?
You mean in the field? When I mean in the field, I mean outside of the lab, just to be clear, because here we're in a farming community as well. And it's not in the field as with the farmers. What I mean is, for example, if you're on a production line and you want to check if the enzymes that you are using are still active in your tanks, then you take currently there's no ways to do it. It's very hard. You could take one and then send it to the lab and wait, etc. But it takes time. Here at the site, you can measure directly. So that's what I mean.
Very cool.
Do we have one more question from the audience? Yes.
So you're quite successful, I would say. What was your largest mistake in the past few years that you would say, oh, shit, if I would have said this or knew that?
So I think early on as a researcher, you tend to focus on keeping your idea private, and that's a big mistake. You should talk to as many people as you can about your idea, because if just by telling someone your idea, they can copy you, then you should not start a business, kind of. So that's the first thing where I would even go stronger to talk to more people early on. And then you really have to resist the urge to try different things at the same time. You should really focus. You get a strategy, you push it, and then, you might pivot on the way, but you really need to be focused. If you try to develop 3 products at the same time, you'll die before the first one is released. It takes a lot of time and effort to get to the point where you open a blister, you put a solution, it's always the same answer. And so you should really focus on this.
All right, thank you for your question. We have to wrap up. Alexis, one last word, maybe?
I wish you the best of luck. I know how difficult it is. It's my second startup, but I think it's one of the best experiences you can have, even if you fail, so try it.
Thanks so much, Alexis. And of course, don't forget, I don't remember how you call the box, the Zymocube. Okay, so you can have a look at the products at the booth. Yeah, it's always nice to see how it looks like. And maybe, Morgan, you can stand up so people know about you. And so she's based here, so if you want to have more conversation with Zymoptic, you can discuss with Morgan. Okay, let's go to the next startup. And next up, we have a startup from UK. That's Ben Wilding, and that's Sunbear BioFuture. Yeah, welcome on stage, Ben, please. You can continue.
Thank you very much. Yes. We are Sunbear BioFuture. Our mission is to produce everyday essentials sustainably, and we're starting with an alternative to palm oil. Why? Because I don't have the clicker. Why? Because palm oil is responsible for over 500 million tons of carbon annually. This is our friend, the sun bear. And sadly, there are fewer than 1,000 left in the wild due to deforestation, largely caused by oil palm plantations. You have used it today already, most likely, and you'll probably use it again before the day is out. Palm oil is literally everywhere. The market today is worth $70 billion and is expected to grow to $100 billion by 2030. There is no sustainable strategic plan in place for that extra $30 billion worth on an annual basis. An alternative is needed now. Sunbear BioFuture works with a yeast that naturally produces an oil with a similar chemical profile to palm oil. So we retain the same functional positives of palm oil, but with greatly reduced environmental impact and increased food security. Our magic as a team comes from gene editing the yeast to produce commercially viable levels of oil. We use science and technology to increase the yield that the yeast naturally produces, allow our yeast to eat alternative feedstocks, such as food waste streams, and to produce the oil extracellularly. Meet the bears behind the magic. I'm Ben Wilding, CEO. I have over 15 years' experience founding and growing my own technology businesses. Laura is our Chief Scientific Officer, and she has over 10 years' experience in biotechnology R&D. And Ben Williams in the middle, or second from front, he's our CTO and has worked in artificial intelligence at Microsoft and robotics at Ocado. We have an advisory board with many decades of highly relevant scientific and food experience, and we have a number of strategic relationships already in place. We've closed our pre-seed and we'll be raising our seed round in 2024 and are currently looking for more investor, partner and collaborative relationships. If you've got your phone with you, please follow Sunbear BioFuture on LinkedIn for regular updates, and we'll happily take any questions from you now. Help the bears make it happen. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much for the great presentation.
Thank you.
All right, let's up. Yes, we already have a question. Declan, please.
Ben, thank you very much, not only for your presentation, but especially for picking this up and doing this, making it happen.
Thank you.
So now, if you would raise enough money today, what's the first thing you will do? What do you need most?
It's a difficult one to answer because we have our strategic plans in place not needing that money today. We've got our plans. So we have a runway through to the middle of next year. So that's our target for when we raise that seed round. When we raise at that point in time, it's designed to continue our research and development. It's going to be a long journey, but also to build our pilot facility. We have a few strategies in place to start commercializing something more rapidly than maybe the end product, which will be good, but we won't talk about that publicly at the moment. But certainly if you'd like to learn more, do come to the booth. And if you see someone with an armband that says, "I love sun bears," like Laura and Ben, you can ask us those kinds of questions. Thank you.
Thanks. I've seen another question over there.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for your presentation. Two questions. At what scale are you fermenting currently?
And what is the first product category that you will target with your palm oil alternative?
Great question. So we've been around for a year, so we're still at lab scale in 1 litre shakers. However, we have a number of partnerships, as I said, so we've already started to roll out of the lab and been running at 50 litres. We have a target to do a 350 litre fermentation at the end of the year. So we're doing our engineering production scale up in tandem with our science so that we move forwards rapidly. And your second part of the question, target market. Yes. So end goal at the moment is plant-based meat alternatives because they've all got a challenge with fats and oils. But everyone doing fat alternative oils is saying exactly the same thing. So that strategy is going to be different in 18 months' time. The other thing is we're not going to be actually launching in food yet because we've got loads of regulations to tick off first. So we'll be looking at other markets such as cosmetics, lubricants, anywhere where palm oil could be used, but the regulations are lower. And I see flashing red below me, so maybe I should shut up. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ben. All right.
Thank you, Ben. And next up is a startup from Wageningen, actually from the building next to us. And it's a startup doing agroforestry modeling. Please welcome on stage Arnold for FarmTree. Arnold, welcome. That was a long way from home, right? Please tell us more about FarmTree.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we're having a home match here in Wageningen. We're based here in the building next door. Thank you very much. And I also forgot to bring over this. So what we're talking about in FarmTree is that we're quantifying agroforestry, the impact of agroforestry. Why are we doing this? There's a problem that we would like to solve. Agroforestry is really a solution that is being provided, and a lot of corporate entities and various organizations are using to look at how to combat deforestation. Also, land degradation. There are a lot of land degradation which is taking place, and agroforestry can help combating land degradation. Reduced productivity, and that's where we're entering this as well. Also looking at how we can enhance climate resilience for an income for farmers. So what solution do we have to provide for these users? Because we're really looking at project developers that need a tool because it's difficult to assess what agroforestry will provide in the future. So we've developed a tool. It's an online tool. It was originally developed in Excel, and it is now a version that is online. It has inputs and it has outputs. So the market of project developers is available, is out there. We already provide services to a number of users. We were set up in 2021. And a number of clients that I can mention is Acorn, which is the agroforestry fund from Rabobank, Mars, Ecom, a number of examples, particularly within the coffee and agroforestry context. So we are looking for funding. We require an investment of 500,000 euro in the next 12 months. And 1.2 million for the next 18 months. So I'd like to thank you for the floor and open the floor for a number of questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arnaud. Okay, do we have any question coming from the audience? Yes, we have one over there. Declan is coming from the back.
Yes. What's the main advantage for the project developers? What do they like most in your solution?
Yeah, thank you for your question. So what is of interest to the project developers to get insight what is the advantage of agroforestry compared to business as usual? So what we usually do is, for instance, in a cocoa crop or a coffee crop, is to show, okay, what is the benefit of the business as usual, and if you have an improved practice, what are the advantages that will bring them? And that's not only financial, but it's particularly also looking at the ecosystem services that agroforestry provides.
Any other question from the audience? Maybe, yes, okay.
What data do you need to collect to be able to give these insights? Like what's the data based on?
Yeah, so actually we don't collect data. We require data to come from our clients. The data, it's a very advanced amount of data that is required. However, what we've done, we've put our database together of all species, all the features. Each species has a specific feature. For instance, cocoa has various products. Had the pods, and also after a number of years when the trees have to be replaced, there's the wood. And so each species has a specific species, and that's entered into our database. At the moment, we've added that database, collected that database ourselves, building it. However, we also need to validate that, and that's where we need certain users for. So, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Arnaud. And well, remember to scan the QR code to connect to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnaud. Our next startup is coming from Germany, and they digitize flavors. Please welcome on stage Hamid, the CEO of Harmonize. Hamid, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. We are Harmonize and we engineer flavor. My name is Hamid and I'm joining here StartLife from Munich in Germany. And the problem is that flavor is an extremely subjective sense. It is a perception that is unique to everyone. And until now, we haven't had any objective and reproducible way of measuring flavor. Now, keeping in mind that flavor is the #1 factor in food choice for the consumer, and that more than 2/3 of every product that is going to the supermarket is coming out because it's not successful, this has created a huge market for flavor research and development. Now, Harmonize has started to validate its technology on the whiskey market, but our ultimate goal is to create plant-based foods that are faithful to the original flavor profile of the foods that they are replacing. So we have used whiskey to show that we can do it, and now we will move on to the next market based on demand and funding. Our main customers are R&D departments. So in the case of whiskey, that is the master blender or the department that the master blender is running, and food analysis labs who already have mass spectrometry devices installed. That is where we get all the data that we use to analyze and measure flavor. Now, our solution is a software as a service digital flavor engineering platform. The data is generated in the lab, it goes into the software, and our customers have access to these tools to control, design, optimize, and describe the flavors of their products in a never-before-achievable manner. Our ask for the next 24 months is 1.2 million euros. This is the first time we are looking for dilutive investment. And this money will be invested in personnel, consumables for research and development, marketing, and operating costs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hamid. All right, we have a question here in the front. You should try to throw the box.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. I was wondering what is the current way of ensuring consistency in flavor? Because every time I buy some product, for me it smells the same. So I would expect something like this to be already existing. So what is it that you're replacing?
Yeah, okay, so the way we currently measure flavor is using expert tasting panels, right? So humans who are tasting the products and then giving us descriptions. That is how we currently measure flavor. Of course, it's not very reproducible and it's not very good. How your products from the supermarket are tasting well, or consistent, let's say, are usually with these extra E numbers that you're seeing there, which are industrial products, additives, flavors, that are always consistent because we're very good at producing these chemicals. But what Harmonize wants to do, we want to enable the production facilities to not be relying so much on these E numbers, but on their production parameters, to optimize these parameters to reach the desired end goal, rather than having industrial products. That's exactly why we went with whiskey, because you're not allowed to add anything to whiskey. So it has to be a natural product. You have to do fermentation, distillation, and maturation. Nothing gets added, except for caramel in some cases, but that's it. So we want to make the production reach the desired flavor profile without adding anything inside.
Okay. I see we have a question online.
Can your technology work on liquid and solid products in the same way?
Yes. So the only difference is in solid products, we also have texture. So we're not focusing on texture, we're only focusing on flavor. So texture has to be taken care of another way. But on flavors, on the flavor side, there's no difference between solids and liquids.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hamid.
Thank you very much.
Well, a give applause.
Thank you, Hamid. We'll travel a bit with the next startup. This one is coming from Slovakia. And I'm an agroecologist. I'm particularly excited about this one because it's a new ecological bioleaching method. Please welcome on stage Bernd for EcoLife. So obviously that was not Bernd on the video.
Sorry.
So Darlina, the CEO, couldn't come, but Bernd made us the pleasure to come. Please tell us more about your solution.
Thank you very much. So, hello everybody, my name is Bernd Diermann, I'm from EcoLife Germany, and I'm happy to introduce you to our startup EcoLife and the amazing things we do with bacteria. So what is a challenge? I choose already the next one. So what is a challenge? In general, world population is growing and people need safe food. So, however, soil is exhausted, contaminated, microflora is destroyed, nutrients not accessible. That's why plants are unhealthy and weak. And this leads farmers to use even more agrochemicals, and the EU tries to stop this. But what shall farmers do? Farmers, especially here in the Netherlands, find themselves between political pressure and economical pressure by raising input prices. So, but we can help, we are quite convinced. Let me tell you how. So, like in any case, nature offers the best solution. With our unique biostimulants from a unique bioleaching process, farmers can make plants very strong and resistant. Our bioleaching technology is a new technology and has a green guarantee from the European Union, the ETV certificate. Trained plant growth promoting bacteria, dissolve minerals, and create liquid nutrients accessible for plants. Produce dozens of proteins, organic acids, and stimulating plant hormones and cytophores with amazing effects on different crops. There are many biostimulants on the market and a lot of disappointments. However, we have unique ones, they really work. We are convinced that they work. We are awarded several times already. And we are very proud of the FICO, the Best Innovation Award we received last year. Yeah, and we are looking here for partners, not for investors, for big food companies. But so far, I had already a few very interesting discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Do we have any question coming from the audience? Maybe I can start. So you mentioned that you're looking for partners. So
Right.
can you tell us more about it? Like specifically, what is it? Like, what kind of partner are you looking for?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we are looking for distributors and we are looking for big food companies because we can help. We're convinced that we can help. And especially here in the Netherlands, you have many problems. The farmers have to reduce the agrochemicals, they have to reduce the fertilizer, and our biostimulants making fertilizer more plant available. So they will have the same yield, even they are using maybe, for example, 30% less fertilizer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Any question? Yes, we have a question over there.
How do you measure the efficiency of your product?
Yeah, well, in the last 2 years, we found that product is biostimulants by chance. We are coming from remediation, and a few years ago, we gave it to laboratory, and it turns out it's a very, very efficient fertilizer biostimulant. And the last 2 years, we made a lot of tests from Sri Lanka to New Mexico to Spain, and the results were always very impressive, but we didn't do exact tests. We did that the first time this year, and we will have all of the results within the next week, latest 2 months maybe. So measure sugar increase, sugar content. Sorry?
Which crops do you test on?
We tested potatoes, we tested cherries, apples, strawberries, amazing result with strawberries, watermelons, wheat, barley, and a lot more.
Quite extensive, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, we are out of time. So, I mean, there is a lot of time afterwards to connect.
Yeah,
so,
for more questions, I'm around.
Exactly, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, we almost reached the end, isn't it?
Yes, we have one more startup to go. Please welcome on stage Umberto from Nerite. That's also a startup in the agriculture domain. Umberto, you're the CEO and co-founder. I see you brought a product. Tell us.
No, that's something else.
Okay, tell us about it.
Yeah, all right, quick exercise first. Who here thinks fertilizers are bad? Who here thinks fertilizers are good? A few fertilizer companies in house. Who here thinks it's far more complicated than that? Yeah, you got me. Enough fertilizers are good. But how much is enough? Welcome to the farmer's dilemma. It turns out it's extremely hard to know how much your soil can actually provide to your crops, because you need to extract soil samples, send them over to a lab, pay a bunch of money, and then wait 7 to 10 business days to get the results back. And even then, you need to be able to interpret them so that you can be able to use them on the field. So naturally, this only really happens once a year. In the best case scenario, most cases once every 3 years. This means that over 40% of all nitrogen fertilizers that are applied to the crops today are never taken up by plants. This results in greenhouse gas emissions, nitrate leaching, and an extreme profitability decrease for growers. Now, if you can measure, then you can improve. And that's the basis of the Sound of One. It used to be hard, but now you stick one of these babies every 5 to 10 hectares, and based on the plant availability of your nutrients, we measure and plan ahead for how much fertilizer you actually need. Now, I'm going to stop right there, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, come on, Umberto, another soil sensor company? Well, let me blow your mind. There's 2 breakthroughs that we were able to realize, largely thanks to StartLife, during the last few months. Breakthrough number 1. For God's sake, stop trying to make growers change and pay you for it. We realized that most food and beverage processors need to bring down their Scope 3 emissions, otherwise they will lose contracts. Those are our main customers. Breakthrough number 2, we realized that the technology that is the foundation for all of the detecting has been wrong all along. Just take stuff that already works and integrate it into something that can be shown in the field to really make a difference. And that's what we did. We're right now looking for industrial pilots. 1 spot left. Thank you.
Amazing, Humberto. Thank you so much. All right, let's open the floor for questions. Do we have any? You were very good at presenting, apparently.
I hope so.
But maybe I can start with, like, I was wondering, what is your go-to-market strategy, like, from now on?
Right. So, as I mentioned, growers are not going to pay you to make them change. Growers need people who are already interested in these solutions and that can be pushed down the value stream. So we work with food and beverage processors that need to bring down their Scope 3 emissions on the field or lose contracts. They pay big bucks for this stuff and are a lot easier to convince to actually change and implement change.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we have a question in the front.
How do you deal with granularity and the micro differences in fields? Because you said 1 every, I don't know how many hectares, yeah.
Yeah, it's very crop dependent. So basically, if you're working on a farm, it doesn't make sense to monitor any more often that you can change things. Depending on the type of crop, so 5 hectares is an oversimplification, but depending on the type of crop, we determine which regions growers use to sample soil, and then based on that, we determine how many of these you would need to have a representative sample.
And if you move it 5 meters, the measurement will be very similar. That's
yes.
the assumption you take.
Yeah.
I see we have one last question. Maybe we can take from the online audience.
The question is, how is this different from other soil testing devices in the market?
Yeah. Turns out we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We took water quality monitoring sensors, and we put them into a system that can make it work for soil. If you stick a water monitoring sensor in the field, it won't tell you anything, but neither will light or electrical conductivity on its own. So the whole point is we put a system together and an analysis method, which is our patent, to make those sensors work on the field.
Okay, time is up. Thank you very much, Humberto. Thank you.
Well, that was our last startup. Thanks a lot for your question. We hope you had fun. I want to congratulate you guys, the entrepreneurs, for all the good progress that you made in the past month. I know you had to work really hard. I want to thank you, Julia, for co-hosting the event today, and a big thank you to all the StartLife team, our event manager, Kirsten, I don't know where she is. Oh yeah, there. And of course, thanks to you guys for the community, for your support for the startup. That's very important for what we're trying to do. Yeah, and of course, don't forget to sign up for the 11th edition of the program. The deadline is July 10th. So if you have any startups in your portfolio or that you know that could be interested, yeah, refer them to us. I want to welcome everybody on stage. I mean, not everybody, but the entrepreneurs and the StartLife team. And we will celebrate together with the certificates and with some champagne. And Julia, you still have a few words to say, right?
You can already come on stage. And at the same time, I just want to thank you. And I also want to invite you to stay over because we have like bites and drinks also that are going to be served on the other side of the building. And also, if it's not raining as it looks like, well, afterwards, there is also a festival happening in campus. So you're much invited to join as well. So thank you again, also to the online audience, and we'll see you next time.
StartLife team. Guys, come on stage. Don't be shy. We're going to take a picture, so we need you on stage. Alexis, tu sais où il est? Okay.